StudyIQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.
Dear friends, students, welcome to our series on the ethical case studies. So, we started this series few weeks back, and the idea is to solve 2 case studies per week. So, in this way we are planning to solve the case studies that has been asked in UPSC previous year examination starting 2013 till the year 2022. So, already we have dealt with 4 case studies. So, this would be case study number 5 again from the previous year question which has been asked in civil service examination 2022. The objective behind the series is many of the students are not aware as to how to approach the case studies, because case study is something when it comes the students are completely blank, because case studies are not part of our formal education system, nor you have dealt it somewhere as a part of your academic studies either during your graduation or during the school days, which is very much part of the academic education when it comes to the Western countries, but Indian education system has not gone to that level, or they have not incorporated it. But thanks to the reforms brought in the civil service examination, today they are trying to bring in the case studies also, basically to assess the qualities of the civil servant. It is not only about the intelligence, it is also about how good are they in making the decisions and how they are directed by the values like honesty, integrity when they take up the decisions as a part of civil service. So, in order to test all those things, the case study approach has been brought in, a new paper has been added as a part of the general studies paper 4, which deals with ethics as well as the case studies. So, we will move forward, we will try to understand today's case. So, before I move to the today's case, let me give an introduction. This is Babu Gunashekaran, faculty for Indian Polity and Governance and also the ethics case studies that I am doing right now. And you can watch this series, and it is going to immensely help all the students preparing for the civil service examination. I also secured the IAS rank, but however I have not joined the service, but I have started teaching subsequent to that. So, with that let us go to the next case study which is asked in the UPSC examination. So, before I go to the next case study, let me just brief you as to what this case study is, and then let me also go through the case study. So, this is a case study that you have to put yourself in the position. So, you an individual who has done MBA from a prestigious educational institution. After doing MBA from a prestigious educational institution, despite your high academic qualification, you are not able to get into a job, unfortunately, because all these things happens in the backdrop of COVID. And unfortunately, there is not much of vacancies, but however, because of your continuous persuasion and your effort, you have landed in a good job, a very reputed shoe company, and that company is doing well, and you have been recruited there, and you are part of the inspection team in that particular company. And as a part of the inspection team, you have to inspect whether the qualities of the products that has been manufactured by the company are up to the standards. And then once you give the approval, then it will be released for the sale. So, in this way you are doing it, your company is also extremely doing well. And in the backdrop, you have got the job, and you also have ailing parents, and you are been recently married. So, you also have a lot of personal responsibilities to take care. So, in this background, you have also been extremely doing well. You have completed 1 year of service in that company, and the management has been really appreciative of the kind of work that you are doing. So, now the company is deciding to expand from this year, and they are planning to export it to the foreign countries also, their products, especially to the Arab countries and also to the European countries. So, one consignment has been cleared by your company, and which is to be exported to the European countries, but the quality checking team in Europe, so they have found that this consignment is of poor quality, and they have sent this particular consignment back to the company, and it is a very huge consignment. Now, the company has decided, okay, they will clear this consignment which has been sent back from Europe to the domestic market, assuming that it is Indian market. So, the company is saying the people who are part of the inspecting team to clear this particular product, so that the product could be sold to the local team, that is to the local market. But who you are part of the inspecting team, you are saying that there are substandard products, and hence it is not better to clear this product to the local market. You are bringing this to the notice of your manager or your team commander. But however, the management insists you to clear this particular product, because otherwise it will incur a huge losses to the company. And in this background, you are again reporting your that you are not happy about clearing this particular product because you feel that this product is not good enough. But however, the company says that if you are not able to do that, then we will terminate your services on certain innocuous ground. That means on a minor ground, we will terminate your service. That will not be very harmful to you, but we want this product to be cleared and we want this to sell to the domestic market. So, this is the case. So, in this case, you will have to understand as to what are the various ethical issues, who are the stakeholders, and then what are the ethical dilemmas you will come across. So, we will try to understand as to what are the directives in the question, and according to the directives, we will try to understand and answer this particular question. Alright, so as I already said that whenever you read a particular case study, there are few things that you have to keep in your mind. So, first try to assess what is the major subject matter in this particular case study. When I say subject matter, which is the broader theme on which this entire case study is based upon, so that you can direct your answers according to that particular subject matter. And then try to understand as to who are the stakeholders, what are the ethical issues. Ethical issues means what are the issues that you come across, which you find legally something wrong or morally something is wrong. So, what are the various ethical issues? And in case if it is asked, you can also look into the dilemmas, the ethical dilemmas. So, ethical dilemma situation where you are not sure as to in which way that you have to act. So, there are two options in front of you and everything seems to be right. Everything has its own good things and bad things. So, how to decide on this particular circumstances? And then look for the directives in the question. So, I will just go to the case, and after explaining, after going through the case study quickly, we will also go to the directives in this particular question. But before I go to the directives, so you can see that StudyIQ has launched its prelims to interview live online batches for the month of August, and the batches are likely to commence from August 23rd, and all the batches would be evening batches. For students who are working or they are not able to go for the regular training, so they can think about this. You can go through the brochure in the StudyIQ website, and if you feel that this can really help you, so then you can take your admissions, and the admissions are right now open, and the admissions are open in all the 3 languages, that is in English and also Hindi batches. And if you want to get an additional discount on these courses, you can use my code Babulai. So, not only in these courses, but any courses that you wanted to take admissions from StudyIQ, if you want an additional discount, you can use my code Babulai. So, alright, with that information, let us just move on to our case study. So, this is the case study that I have briefly explained. So, we will just go through it very quickly. So, you have done MBA, so you will have to put yourself in this particular case study as per the question that is asked in UPSC. You have done MBA from a reputed institution 3 years back. So, that means you have done and you have waited for some time to get into a job. So, from a reputed institution 3 years back, but could not get into campus placement due to COVID-19 generated recession. So, that is really unfortunate that you have completed in a wrong time, but that is alright. However, after a lot of persuasion and a series of competitive tests, including written and interview, you have managed to get into a job in a leading shoe company. So, here you will have to understand that you have gone through a rigorous recruitment process. That means you have merit and you are able to clear all those things, and then finally you also get into the job. So, that is probably shows that the individual is having lot of merit, but it is only an unfortunate situation that he was not able to get into the job. You have aged parents who are dependent. So, you have aged parents dependent and staying with you. You also recently got married after getting this decent job. So, there are certain personal responsibilities. On going through this case, you can understand that in this case you have an aged parent who are dependent on you and you are recently married probably. So, the marriage responsibilities are also there. You will have to take care of your wife. So, that responsibility is also there to the individual. You are allotted to the inspection section. So, this is where you work in the company, which is responsible for clearing the final product. In first 1 year, you learned your job well and was well appreciated and was appreciated for your performance by the management. That means not only that you got into the inspection team and you have been doing your job well, not just to the satisfaction, but the management is really appreciative of your work. The company is doing good business for the last 5 years. That means the company is doing a good business. The company is doing well in the domestic market. And this year it is decided even to export to Europe and to Gulf countries. So, that means they are planning to expand their market from this particular year. However, one large consignment to Europe was rejected by the inspecting team. So, due to certain poor quality and was sent back. That means although this product has been cleared, so when it has gone to Europe, There it was inspected and for poor quality it has been returned back. So, there are some issues with this particular consignment. The top management ordered the EBID consignment. EBID means the above same consignment which has been rejected from the European countries, consignment to be cleared for the domestic market. So, here there is an ethical question, there is an ethical issue. Is it okay on the part of the top management to clear the product for the domestic market which has been rejected by the European countries for the European markets? As a part of the inspecting team, you observed the glaring poor quality and brought to the knowledge of the team commander. So, because you are part of the inspecting team for the domestic market, so you are bringing this to the notice of your team leader or to team commander, but there is some kind of quality issues in this particular consignment. So, after you inform this, however, the top management advised all the team members, all the members of the team to overlook these defects, as the management cannot bear such a huge loss. So, the management, despite you bringing it to the notice, they decide that to overlook these things, clear the product, because we are not in a position to bear the losses, because if this consignment is rejected, that would be a huge loss to the company. Rest of the team members except you promptly signed and cleared the consignment for the domestic market, overlooking the glaring defects. So, there is an ethical concern here. The other members have signed it, they have accepted the order that has been given by the management, but you are not willing to do that, or you are having some reservations. So, because you are ethically thinking about it, you are thinking about the other consequences for the company also. So, you again brought to the knowledge of the team commander that such consignment, if cleared even for the domestic market, will tarnish the image and the reputation of the company and will be counterproductive in the long run. So, you are thinking on the long term perspective. So, you are someone who is not thinking the short term losses, but you are thinking about the long term reputation and what kind of possible consequences it can bring to the company, because you are a very ethical employee and genuinely you are thinking and you are informing that to the top management, to the team commander here. However, you are further advised by the top management that if you do not clear the consignment, the company will not hesitate to terminate your services, citing some innocuous reasons. That means the management is very clear that we want this consignment to be cleared. Whether you do it or we will terminate your service, we will put somebody else and we will clear this. And we will terminate your service on some innocuous ground. That means on a less harmful grounds. On a minor grounds, we will terminate your services. It is not going to affect your career prospects in the further companies if you are getting recruited in some other company. But we want this product to be cleared. There is nothing against you, but we cannot bear the expenses. So, the management is very clear. Under this background, you as an individual, you will have to put yourself in this particular position and you will have to decide as to how you are going to act. So, these are the following directives. So, I will come to the directives. So, if you broadly look into the directives, it is asking, under the given conditions, what are the options available to you as a member of the inspecting team? So, what are the options? Critically evaluate, analyze the positives, negatives of these options. What options would you adopt and why you would choose that particular option? What are the ethical dilemmas that is faced by you? So, any action here which you are going to take, you have multiple options. So, what options you are going to take? So, what are the various ethical dilemmas under which you will have to decide the best option? What can be the consequences of overlooking the observations raised by the inspecting team? So, if at all the observations made by the inspecting team, especially you are giving some suggestions, if those are overlooked, what could be the potential consequences to the company? So, these are the things that you will have to answer in this particular case. So, let us just go through quickly as to what should be the approach, as I have been doing that in all the case studies. Your approach is, so first you will have to identify the subject matter, the broader theme on which this entire case study is based upon. Identify the stakeholders, identify the ethical issues which you feel something which is wrong in this particular case, and then the directives. Directives are basically the questions that is given in the case study. Now, students ask me, do I have to write the introduction and conclusion? So, it is not required per se because it is not asked in the examination. But if you have the time limit, you can just summarize whatever you want as a part of the introduction and you can give some conclusion as well. There is no hard and fast rule, but if there is no time, just restrict yourself to what has been asked in the case study. What are the directives in the case study? So, let us just get into the case study, but before that let us try to understand as to what is the subject matter on which this entire case study is based upon. So, to my knowledge, what is the entire subject matter which this case study is concerning or revolving around is the ethical concerns and dilemmas in a private institutions. So, because you are working in a private organization, so in a private organization, when you are performing your duty, when you are performing your tasks, there could be a lot of ethical concerns for you. So, here you as an individual has a lot of ethical concern whether to clear this product or not. If I clear this product, it could be a poor substandard product which is given to the consumers. So, you are not being trustworthy to the customers, but at the same time if I do not clear this, then probably the company will bear the losses. If I clear this, then I have no issues, but if I do not clear this, then probably I will have some personal problems. So, a lot of ethical issues that is involved. So, whether to clear or not to clear itself is a big ethical question, and there are a lot of problems associated with that. And then apart from that, it can also be related to corporate governance, although not the major theme here, because it is related to an individual per se as to how he is going to act. And corporate governance also means that the decision which is taken by the management should be of ethical in nature. So, here they are taking a decision on a narrow perspective. So, the issue of an angle of corporate governance is also there. And then the second major theme is laws, rules, regulations and consigns as a source of ethical guidance. When I say laws, rules, regulation and consigns as a source of ethical guidance, that the behavior of you as an individual in this place who is part of the investigating team. So, your behavior and action is based on certain protocols, certain rules in the company. The company gives you certain standards upon which you can clear the product. But now the company itself is unofficially telling you to clear the product, which is going against the rules of the own company. And it may also go against the established laws in our country. Say for example, we have something which is called as a Consumer Protection Act. Under the Consumer Protection Act, it is a responsibility that the company whichever is providing a substandard service or a substandard quality may be taken to the consumer redressal forum. So, it is also going to have an impact upon the company in the future. It is going against established law in our country. And further, as an individual, you also have certain values. Your own conscience does not allow you to perform all those things. So, all these things should be taken into account as to how you will act in such a situation. So, these are the major subject matters on which this particular case study is related. And then who are the stakeholders in this particular case study? So, if you see the stakeholders in this particular case study as to who are involved. So, whom do you think is relevant in this case? What you can identify is basically what is the stakeholders. So, you are anyways involved. So, you are a major stakeholder because you are going to decide. So, your decision is very crucial. It may have your own, it can have certain personal repercussions and consequences as well, the way the decisions you are taking. Not only that the problem will be to you, but it can be for your dependents also. Suppose if you are terminated from the job. So, it can have an implications upon your dependent parents and you are recently married. It can have an impact on your personal life as well. Team members. Or the team members behaving ethically, apart from you, all the other team members have approved this particular product, despite knowing the fact that there is a glaring defect or there is a glaring poor quality in the consignment. So, they are also involved. Top management, is it ethical on the part of the top management to give such a direction, ask you to clear this particular product? So, that is again a major question. Consumers trust the organization and they purchase these products. Is it okay to give a substandard and a poor quality product to the consumers? So, the consumers are also involved. The government has the responsibility to ensure justice to the consumers in case if the quality is not good. The government has already enacted the Consumer Protection Act. Under the Consumer Protection Act, there are consumer courts. So, in this ecosystem, everything has to function. So, the government is also a major stakeholder in the entire process. Okay. So, these are the major stakeholders. Now, let us go into the ethical issues in this particular case study. What are the various ethical issues that you come across? Try to identify the problems in this particular case study. So, look into the ethical issues. The top management advised to clear the consignment despite found to be of poor quality. Is it ethical on the part of the top management to give a direction to clear this consignment because they know that it is of poor quality? So, this is a major ethical issue in this particular case. So, this is something that you have to take into account before deciding the course of action. But from the management side, if you see, if the consignment is not cleared, then the company might have to encounter heavy losses. It can have an impact upon the profit of the directors. It can have an impact upon the employees of some of the employees who are part of the company. So, the management has to balance all those things. So, to some extent you can see that the management is also accountable, not only accountable for the decisions, they have to take care of the welfare of the employees as well. So, is it okay? Is it wrong? But you are the one who has to approve this. If you approve this, then it will go forward. Otherwise, you can be restricted. Suppose if you approve it, then it will lead to sale of substandard products to the consumer. Is it right to give a substandard product to the consumers because the consumers trust the company, and is it okay to fool the consumers? Is it okay to cheat the consumers? That's again a big ethical question, and it may also bring in a bad reputation to the company. It is not only about the consumers, it can also bring in bad reputation to the company as well if this product goes out. That is what you are thinking. So, it is a serious ethical concern. You as an employee has to be genuine not only to the consumers, but also to your own company. The company has been paying you, so you will have to give the sincere advice to the company. So, this is again an ethical concern. But then the problem is you have already been giving the opinion genuinely, but then the problem is the company top management is adamant that if you do not clear it, there are chances that your services will be terminated on innocuous ground. That is on a minor ground. It may not have much impact on your future employment, but still yes, your services may be terminated. So, is it okay on the part of the management to terminate someone for giving a genuine advice? Are they willing to let go a sincere employee? So, these are all the various ethical issues in this particular case, all right. So, now let us just quickly get into the directives. Let us try to understand the directives and the various possible options as to how we can approach this particular case study. Under the given conditions, what are the options available to you as a member of the inspecting team? And the second question is critically evaluate each of the options listed by you. So, I am just taking both the things. So, first question is what are the options that is available to you, and then critically evaluate, analyze the negatives and positives of each and every option. That is what is the second option. So, come to the first thing. So, this is my sincere suggestion to all the students. Now, whatever options that I am giving is only just an indicative direction. So, do not restrict yourself only to those areas. So, try to think of your possible options also, and you can also put that in the comment box. So, probably in that way you can have better ideas also. You can share your ideas with others. The other students might comment. So, in this way the thought process can evolve over a period of time. So, come to the possible options. Accept the advice given by the top management and clear the consignment as you have tried twice to bring the issue to their notice. That is, you are a very ordinary employee, you are not having a very senior position, you are an ordinary employee. So, here what you are doing is that accept the direction or accept the advice which is given by the top management and clear the consignment as you have already tried twice to bring this issue to their notice. That means, what is the good thing about this particular thing is that you will be satisfied that I have not just accepted whatever they said, I tried my best within my limit, within my capacity, and I tried to bring it to the notice of the management because I wanted to safeguard the interests of both the company as well as the consumers. So, I have tried that twice. So, for me there is no burden. So, ethically my conscience is very clear. So, I have tried my best. So, that is the positive about this particular thing. But then the negative is, have you done your professional duty enough? So, have you taken the extreme step to prevent something bad that might happen to the company and to the consumers? And on the flip side, you have already done your part, and also there is no personal liability. You can take care of your personal responsibility. You have an ailing parents and you are newly married. So, you do not have to go through the unnecessary risk, but at the same time you have done your part on the company. So, this is one of the good option that you can do, but this is the best option. We will just discuss that. Okay. So, come to the second option. Write to the top management. So, here you are going for an extreme step within the organization. So, here you are just conveying it. Here you are putting it on paper. You are putting it on record. Write to the top management highlighting the possible consequences of the actions to the consumers and the company plus possible legal consequences. Probably the top management is not aware of the possible consequences. So, here you are taking the extreme step that you could take in the company, that you are writing it to the top management. Probably you can keep all the board of directors in loop, and you are listing out that there are problems in this consignment, and if it is cleared, not only it is against the rules of the company probably, but it is also against the law of the land. It goes against the Consumer Protection Act. There can be lot of legal consequences in the future. The affected people might approach the consumer court, then the message might go to the media. It can tarnish the reputation of the entire company, and most importantly you might breach the trust of the people or the consumers. So, that can have a very bad effect on the company. So, you are trying to put all these things, and this is the ultimate step as an employee you can take it in the organization. That is what I feel. So, by following the proper process. So, this is something that you can take. So, in this case you might be very clear that you have done whatever you could do under your capacity in the organization. So that's a positive thing, but negatively, yes, you may be terminated from the service, because the management has clearly said that we will terminate you on innocuous ground, although on minor grounds there is a possibility you may be terminated from the service, but ethically you will be very happy as to that you have taken this particular step. Now come to the third option. Now third option is convey to the management politely that his conscience doesn't allow him to clear the consignment and you are willing to resign if need be. That means you are making it very clear. See, I am an employee of this organization, so I wanted to do my job in a moral way, in an ethical way, as per the rules of the company, as per the law of the land. And hence, I wanted to give my sincere advice. I have already given my sincere advice, but still if you want to clear the product, I cannot do that, because that is going to burden me. My conscience will not allow me to do that. But however, if you want, I will submit my resignation. You do not have to terminate my service on an innocuous ground. I myself will terminate my resignation. So then rest it is up to the company. If you see in this case, I would say it is one of the best option he can do. Because here he is making it very clear that he is very ethical on his part, and he is also following the law of the land. He has been very genuine to the company also, because he is warning the company that what could be the possible repercussions, including the damage of reputation, but at the same time he is also trying to protect the interest of the consumers, even if it is a personal loss for him. So even he is willing to resign from his job, but he is not willing to do something which is unethical. Okay. So these are all the possible options. So you can think of more options also, but considering the time limit, I am restricting this to these three options. Now, what option would you adopt and why? So here they are trying to ask as to which one will you adopt. So here you can combine two options as well when you write an answer, not necessarily that you will have to give one option. So as an individual, if I have to put myself in this particular place, so what I will do is I will write to the top management and briefing them of the possible consequences, and then I will also, along with that letter, I will also submit my resignation. In case that if you still go ahead, so I am not in a position to do that, I am extremely sorry for this, because I feel that I have to give my sincere advice, because the company has been paying me as a loyal employee. I wanted to give my sincere advice, but still if the company believes it has to go out, because I do not know the problems that the management has, but if the management was to go ahead, then I am not in a position to approve this particular consignment. So I am placing my resignation as well. So this would be the best option, where he is trying to warn the company on the one hand, giving a genuine advice, and he is also trying to protect the interest of the consumers. The only loss that happens to him is that he may have a personal loss, he may lose his job, but that is all right. You can see from the background of this particular case, you can understand that you are someone who has come from a reputed institution, and then you have also very good work experience right now, which has also been appreciated by the management. So it is just a matter of time before you could land up in a good job, but you will never have this problem in your mind that you have done something wrong. So it is very important that you keep your conscience very clear to move forward in your life. So I feel that it is just a matter of time that you can go and you can get a good job, but at the same time you will not be falling a victim of something wrong. So that is the good option, the best option in my opinion, which you can do under the present circumstances. So what are the ethical dilemmas being faced by you? So what are the various ethical dilemmas that will determine your course of action? So whatever you perform here, whatever option that you take, so what is going to really decide all those things? So these are the ethical dilemmas I feel. So one is your personal responsibility versus the professional responsibility. So personally, you'll have to take care of your ailing parents, and then you'll have to take care of your family as well, because you got recently married. So there is certain personal responsibility for you. But at the same time, professionally, you have to carry out your duties according to the rules, according to the laws, according to the moral standards. But if you are trying to do your professional duty, there is a possibility that you may be terminated from the service. If you want to retain the service, if you want to be in the job, there is a possibility that you are failing on the professional end. So it's a big dilemma for an individual as to how you have to act. So this is one important ethical dilemma. Second ethical dilemma that also affects his course of action, his options, his decisions, is protecting the interest of the consumers, that is the consumer rights versus the company's interest. On the one hand, the consumer do have the rights to get a quality service or a quality product. So if you are thinking about that, then this consignment should not go out. But there is also a company interest. When you talk of the company interest, the company has an interest of preventing the losses and if the consignment is to be withdrawn, then there's a huge loss to the company. The company cannot bear this particular thing. So you'll have to again think, what about the company's interest and what about the consumer's interest? So this is again will influence your decision in this case. And then the one more thing, one more ethical dilemma that also affects you is the long-term vision versus the short-term narrow interest. So here you can see that the management is also not wrong, because the management, I would say, I won't say it is completely ethically right, but yes, they have a short-term interest in what the management is doing. The management is thinking that they should not incur a huge loss. But you as an individual, you are not having a narrow short-term interest, but you are looking for a long-term interest of the company. You are not doing something against the company, but rather you are trying to help the company. You are having a long-term vision, long-term interest, that reputation is something that cannot be tarnished. If reputation is tarnished, then there can be a lot of other consequences for the company. So you are thinking from a long-term perspective, which the top management is not doing. So probably you are also again in some kind of dilemma. What is the priority at this stage, whether it is a long-term interest or it is the short-term interest right now? So I think all these dilemmas has to be taken into account before you decide something, which anyways you have decided as to what could be the possible course of actions. Now the last thing is, what can be the consequences of overlooking the observations raised by the inspection team. So the inspection team has given certain recommendations. So what could be the possible consequences if these things are overlooked? Now there are a lot of consequences. So here you can use your general knowledge also. You can use the laws of the land also to put in the consequences. So first is loss of reputation, that is there in the case study as well, because you are breaching the trust. The consumers are believing the quality product, but you are breaching the trust by clearing this consignment. And once you breach the trust, there is a possibility that there is a bad word that is spread across the public, and that can also lead to what? That can also lead to the loss of the market share. The market share can go down. So that is again a very serious consequence for the company. And apart from that, the affected consumers, they can go to the consumer forums, because the Consumer Protection Act, which is a law in our country, allows the consumer to redress their grievances if they are provided any substandard service or a product. So if many people go to the consumer forum, then the news might come in the media, so that can actually lead to the drop of the market value and the price of these products, and the share value of the company can go down. That's a very worst consequence that can happen to the company. And then when all these things happens, automatically your loss might go down, your sales might reduce. So automatically there is a financial consequence to the company. Apart from that, you are also losing a good, talented and an ethical employee. So this is a very rare combination. So please see that. So you as an individual, so what you are trying to do, you are not only good, which the management has accepted themselves, and then you are talented, you have been doing extremely well, you have a very good academic background and you have been excellently doing well in the last 1 year. And then you are someone who is ethical also. This is a very bad combination, because you are not only intelligent, not only good, but you are someone who is going to act according to the values, the ethical values. You are not someone who will do wrong to the company. So the company cannot afford to lose such employees, because they can turn out to be a really good asset for any good company. All right. So that is again a big loss to the company. And not only these things, the management, by deciding this, they also set a bad precedent for the future. So today, okay, one consignment is like this. Tomorrow it might be possible multiple consignments are like that. So today what you are doing, this management decision, if something does not go wrong today, probably you are setting a bad precedent to be followed in the future. And tomorrow it can be really disastrous to the company, because if they are going to follow this particular precedent. So it is better to set the things right when it is small. So these are all the possible consequences that can happen to the company. So in this way, you can just take up a case study and you can try to understand the case studies. And I hope this case study will help you. So in this way, we'll try to solve each and every case study, at least 2 case studies in a week. And if you have any doubts with regard to the case studies and in general also related to civil service examination, you can reach out to me in my Instagram account, that is babugunashekaran337. And you can also follow me on my Instagram account, which is babugunashekaran337. And every day I also put an important current affairs question in the Instagram, which could also be really helpful for the students preparing for civil service examination 2024 and after that also. So thank you very much for watching this particular video. All the very best. God bless.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।